we all find ourselves the past 2 years. Well, that won't make us close our shops. We have to look inward and see what can we do. What we did in our own organization is to go on a round table with our off-takers. Listen, we know that you need houses and we're ready to provide it, but it cannot be business as usual. So we started talking to them on different level of, because that's the ultimate. Do you know that it costs more to develop Atipaja compared to Surulere because of infrastructure? You get sharp sand at Surulere for about 250,000 for a 30 tonner. But Atipaja is almost close to 320. You know, so we know we cannot jeopardize technology by reducing costs to build the framework of the building. But finishing, we look inward and start offering them rubber tiles. We start saying that you do not need to have a suit in all your rooms, like toilets, just one bath and 2 toilets, toilet for the guests, you know. And this has reduced our cost a lot. And we have been able to continue with, sales of properties of not as, we are not doing an exponential increase of our sales. When you relate it to inflation today, like 2-3 years ago, bag of cement, we all know, was about 4,500. Now we are tending towards 10,000 naira. But for us to maintain that level, which is sustainability, to maintain the cost, not increasing as inflation is increasing, we have to now cut our clothes according to the material, not according to the size. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope developers in the house are picking up 1 or 2 things for us to be able to not only deliver affordable houses, but have something that will be sustainable. Because the end goal is to make subscribers happy so that they get value for their money. Mr. Collins. So many Nigerians face difficulty affording basic housing. Private developers like your company and the government this gap while prioritizing sustainable designs.
Okay, when it comes to that, for example, developers, one of the problems developers face today is getting land. Right, so I believe that if the government can subsidize land for developers, it will make it easier for them to build affordable houses. For example, we all know the cost of getting allocation in Lagos State. So after going through that process and spending so much to get the land, you want to build, and of course you still need to think about your profit. So if you can have more partnership with the government, whereby they can allocate land to us while we build, to make it easier for us to have more affordable houses. Then, for example, what we are doing in Epe, we have 2 little bungalows that we are doing in Epe, we are building. So the reason why we went to Epe is because we looked at what is happening around Lekki houses and all that. We found out that for you to get a 2-bedroom in Lekki, for example, in Aja, you need to spend 60, 70, 100 million, in some cases 200 million plus. But if we can start looking at outskirts of Lagos, as long as there's means of transportation to those remote areas, and as long as the government is providing access roads and easy access to places that are a bit out of town, it will make it easier for the developers to move to places that are low, the land is less expensive, and develop houses for people to buy them cheaper than cheaper than what is happening in town. So if the government invests more in developing remote areas and also subsidizing land for some developers who have money to develop, not to give them land and they just keep it without developing. So if a developer comes and says, we want to develop, we have the cash to develop. Please give us land. Let us develop low-cost houses for civil servants or for medium-income earners. That will help in providing more and more affordable houses for people.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. I think this one is an appeal to the government agencies and the regulators. We cannot be talking about affordability without collaborating together with the government agencies to see how we can bring in infrastructures to places where we have affordable land, and also getting title perfections, right, to these properties, as well as building approvals and the likes. So I think it's a collaborative effort between all stakeholders, the developers, the REITs, even the REITs that are here, and also our government agencies. So we are using this opportunity, this platform as well, to appeal that you should help us look into that area as well. As the developers are doing their own, so also the government agency as well, making sure that we have a level playing ground. Thank you, Mr. Collins. Architect, I think this will be my last question for you. I understand that you are the director at the Green Building Council of Nigeria. So, what specific guidelines or standard is the Green Building Council of Nigeria promoting to ensure real estate developers adopt sustainability and eco-friendly practices?
All right, thank you very much. So just to stick to that, well, one of the things that everybody must learn to do was to define solutions that work for you. Of course, all of us that team leads and leaders in the council, we've been in practice for maybe 20 years, 10, 15 years. Now, one of the things that we had observed, and of course that also kind of informed the standard we encourage or we support. One of the things we have also observed is that there's a lot of adopted standards to do affordable housing that developers have been forced or being willful to adopt. Of course, you cannot blame anyone, because at some level, some of these standards also kind of push the value of the real estate portfolio. For instance, a regular space compared to anyone that is not rated can rent between 25 to 30% differences. So how do I mean? If a space rent out for 1 million naira, anyone that is enrolled on any of these rating tool can get as much as a 30% increase. So we are over the time encourage local rating or locally adoptable rating benchmark. Edge is one of them. We have encouraged Edge. They also have our own in-house tool that also are pushing at the moment. But ultimately, one of the things we also done, the one we are pushing, has 3 pivots. Number one, the balance of infrastructure. Of course, it stems from some Jack-on-this model. You know, Jack-on-this model, if you look back at it, one of the things that it does is to open up greenfield for developers and other consumers. So what we have done is to ensure that we set up a standard that can ensure that when there is a team lead to open up an area, there's an infrastructure support, also financial support, there's also technical support. So between the finance, the infrastructure, and technical support, we have defined our own. Of course, we have one we call Euroko. So basically, what that does is to show people the pathway to enforce an affordable, locally available material in your construction, and also follow the globally benchmark rating system. Of course, we support DGMB, we support Edge, but locally, we also encourage our own that is almost done, and basically it does 3 things for you. It makes you affordable, it also makes it to be like a pioneering kind of scale. It also kind of puts you at the picture. You can discuss some policy gaps with government. So I will encourage everyone to maybe read more about it online, and also kind of come forward to discuss, because again, if you watch and read about the internationally known benchmarks, there's none of them that is government supported. It's more of individual that has pushed them, or some NGOs, or some group of people. So even while we are studying this room, some persons can come up with their own standard. With some support here and there, they can push it and it can be acceptable. So we have one that pushing, which I mentioned, but however, it can be pushed from any quarter and by anyone. The ultimate thing is that it must be able to solve our own local problem. It must be able to give quality life to people. Because again, within the ones we are also considering, we're also looking at the intangibles, which is indoor air quality and some other things that you cannot see. So ultimately, we must create and curate a solution of Nigeria for Nigerians. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much. I will just ask a bonus question. So do you have platform that you use in pushing these discoveries and other stuff that you have been able to discover? Do you have platforms?
Yes, we do.
How
So
can developers access those platforms?
all right, so we are Green Building Council Nigeria. I'm Director of Training and Certification. So we have developers that are members. They also come to us for solutions because on one side we offer maybe zero cost consulting because our goal is clear. Our goal is to support the climate change, global climate change, and also the ozone depletion in a context that is African, in a context that is Nigerian. So on our platform, we have some free consulting support for developers. Of course, Green Building Council Nigeria, you can join online. If you some people, you will see us how to join us. And it's an NGO. It's not, of course, we support government. We're part of some of the climate convention in Abuja, but we are not government owned. Our goal is clear. Provide and support a sustainable built environment across Nigeria. And the beauty of it for us also is that we are able to also come up with solutions and competencies that speak to Nigerian problem. For instance, a developer brought a project to us where it's going to provide maybe 100,000 liters of rain harvest. And we ask him, what's the cost of water in Lagos? Who is in Lagos? So compared to the money you are spending, so when we look at life cycle assessment, we know this will not be needed. So ultimately, we are able to help some developers to save money, to also give them, because again, last time we also had, any of these projects that has that support also get to sell faster and rent better. So if you are looking at what value can I add, how do I even make my products potentially acceptable, I will advise, check any of these rating tools, talk to us, we can help and guide. So on the GBCM platform, if you can join us, you can also bring your own thoughts. It's not owned by anybody. My tenure will expire in the next 1 year, and by then I'm out discussing my practice. So please feel free to join us and look more into what we do. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Mr. Collins, I'll be reading your last question. You talk about when you were answering your first question, you talk about our forefathers, how they and they were able to come up with affordable housing. So I want to ask you, what localized materials or construction method have you found most effective in reducing costs while maintaining sustainability standard in Nigeria?
Okay, in the past few months, I have been trying to observe some places in Nigeria. For example, I realized that there is a lot of red sand in Nigeria, right? And the texture of this red sand looks like something that can be used to produce high quality bricks. So what we've been thinking about is how we can use things like that because one of the things that causes that makes construction expensive in Nigeria is one, cement and reinforcement, and then just as the engineer said, the price and all that. So if we can see how we can use our local mud to produce high quality bricks. Of course, we know that the bricks that our forefathers used then, they were not really that strong. Most of those are breaking after some time. Right? But I believe that with more research, we can see how we can use those materials to produce high quality bricks that we can use to construct low income houses. I'm not talking about using it to construct high-rise buildings, right? Low income houses for people in remote areas, because the truth is that you cannot have those kind of buildings in town. It's not possible. But in remote areas, you can use, like let's say, mud to produce bricks that can be used. And then there's been a lot of discussion about how we can use bamboo to place with reinforcement. We need to start looking into all these things, because if we look into them and invest our time in trying to make it work, we will achieve it. It is possible for us to use bamboo and our local redwood to produce, of course, for bricks, and then for reinforcement. For example, your lintel, you don't need to use iron for your lintel. Bamboo is strong enough to go for lintel, especially for a bungalow. So things like this is what we can look into and know how we can start using it to build low-income houses. I'm not talking about building in the Lekki as well with these things, but in remote areas like Ekwe, down in Betubetu. And then, as long as there is access road to these places, I believe that people will live there and also access the town.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. I think you need part of the council.
Sure.
All right, thank you. So, Engineer, given Nigeria's persistent energy crisis, what role can renewable energy solutions like solar and wind play in making affordable housing more energy sufficient and sustainable?
Moderator, the energy crisis in Nigeria or everywhere in the world. So, thinking about this and talking about affordability and sustainability, it's honestly a very trivial one and very almost tending to difficult. But thank God for the government of today that the Ashwadi's government is honestly listening. This using the CNG, because the cost of gas now is cheaper than kerosene. So they're encouraging people to use gas. And what I think developers should do, and that's what we are doing in our development, is to do pre-piping. That's what they do in developed countries. So when you come into your house, all you just need to do is to turn it on. Of course, the cost of this is high. And what the government has done is they have made it available to developers that are willing and are ready to take it up. They make funds available for you to do pre-piping of CNG into your development. I think people should look into that and adopt that. That will help a lot to ameliorate some of the energy crisis we are facing. And then another thing in Lagos, Band A, that has brought a lot of crisis. In designing the houses, we have to critically now so usually the architects, the engineers, the structural engineers, they are the most important people in developing. But right now, because we want to cut our clothes according to our material, we have to sit down with our M&E engineers from the very beginning, from the moment of conceptualizing. You have to engage them, because when structured building, you reduce your usage of power when you have cross ventilation, also in the areas of your piping, for water and for electrical power. Another process that we adopt in our system is, instead of making people bring a generator, from the very onset we incorporate solar. So we give you option of buying into solar, and we partner with solar companies that are ready to give payment plans. So if you're buying a property, from the very beginning you have started putting that into your payment plan, so that when you move into your house, you will not be going on diesel or generator. Those are the things that we have done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Larry. As we'll be wrapping up, these are some of the take home that I would like to lay one or two emphasis on. Balancing affordability and sustainability. As real estate developers, we've heard that we need to fully understand the industry that we play in, so that we can have full knowledge on how to go about constructing houses that are sustainable and that will be very affordable to the masses. Because whether we like it or not, we need to come up with, as we are looking at the luxury development, we also need to look at the construction and building of low-income houses for the masses. On the aspect of the real estate developers, you need to understand the business of your business for you to be able to come up with this. And also, we need to embrace local materials, the use of local materials in our construction process for us to be able to meet up with coming up with affordable houses. And also, we need to embrace the construction of modular construction or prefabs as well, because these are things that we can do to help us reduce the cost of construction. And also in the area of power supply, things are getting better now with power. And recently, the Lagos State Governor just passed a bill in respect to power, and I think it's a thing that is well embracing, and we appreciate the governor for that. And just like our twist, we want them to also look into the area of infrastructure, most especially within the rural area of Lagos State, where the Lagos axis, where we have lands that okay. So our time is fast spent, so I'll be wrapping up. Also in the area of government policies, also we need the government as well to help us look into that, to bring up policies that will be favorable to both all the stakeholders within the beauty industry. So we'll be calling it a day from our head here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that.